that you can to help your constituents, and there's real work to be done here.
Mason spent more than 10 years in the State House, but now feels he can do more for his hometown as mayor.
The next mayor needs to be in a place to take advantage of the jobs that are coming to the region by getting people trained and apprenticed to get into those jobs.
Well, it has been a busy week for the new mayor of Racine with budgets, vetoes, and Foxconn.
So we want to welcome Mayor Cory Mason to 4-1 Forward. There's a lot to talk about, so we appreciate you being here. Let's start with Foxconn. That's the big story. You were one of the few Democrats who supported Foxconn when you were in the Assembly. Now, as mayor, you're a big believer. Why?
Well, I mean, first I just want to say, first week on the job, I'm really excited to be the mayor of Racine. It's a great opportunity. For me, Racine is home, it's family, it's where my family's been for now 6 generations. Wow. My kids go to school, to the same school that I went to. So, you know, being the mayor of my hometown is really this enormous opportunity. So with Foxconn, though, it really does present an opportunity that we just haven't seen, certainly in my lifetime. And, you know, Racine is a place where we build things, right? Where people historically have gone to work to build things in manufacturing jobs, made enough to raise a family on and move forward. And that's changed a bit in the last generation. So with Foxconn arriving, it presents a real opportunity to rebuild the middle class.
And you mentioned the investment, the personal investment you have in Racine and why you now want to take the role on, and you have the role as mayor. Yeah. But talk about more of the plan of action you plan to do to get people in Racine prepared for the jobs that could and will be coming to the area.
It's filling the skills gap first and foremost, and it's really in at least 2 lanes. One is the construction jobs, which will come first, and so how do you get people pre-apprenticed and then apprenticed into the building trades to do that work? And then it's working with our partners at the county and Gateway Technical College and the UW, where we identify what are these tech jobs that are coming to our area. How do we get people trained and skilled up to do that work, so when they start hiring, we've got a pool of qualified applicants.
So are you at the table?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We just had a meeting yesterday that was with the county, and we've had other conversations where the county and the tech college and the UW and everybody else is coming together and having these conversations. We know this is an historic opportunity, but we also know that it'll only succeed if we seize it. So Racine's 5 miles from where this plant is going to be, but if we don't train our people and get them ready for the jobs that are coming, it might as well be 500 miles away.
All right, so everybody seems to be on board about the need to do the training to get people prepared for these jobs. What gives you pause? What gives you concern about this big opportunity?
Yeah, so it's a lot of promises and it's a lot of investment, right? So we need to make sure that there's transparency and accountability, and I think we're on the road to doing that, but certainly the environmental protections and what the water deal looks like is going to be something we're going to be looking at very closely at the Racine Water Utility. Certainly the jobs and the promises for wages, you know, there's good language in there to ensure that people are paid at least $15 an hour. They're promising, you know, $54,000 a year as an average salary. We need to have accountability and transparency on that. So we need to make sure that this is, I mean, it's an historic investment with an historic opportunity, but we need to make sure that there's real accountability so that these promises are actually fulfilled.
Cory, do you believe that your tenure in the legislature will help you in this local level to get those questions answered and to guide the conversation so the accountability is there on the local level?
I do. I mean, I'm really excited to be in this new role, but it's also just, you know, knowing who to call at DWD and what programs exist for training, having a good relationship already with the technical college and knowing what an asset they are to the state and my community, and certainly, you know, knowing what the UW can do from a technology and graduate perspective is really critical. So I don't start sort of, you know, at square one. It's building off of 11 years of relationships to really leverage this opportunity as best we can for the city.
Let's talk about some of those relationships, because as you know, going forward here, Governor Walker, big supporter, out in front on Foxconn. I don't think there's a Democrat running right now for governor who doesn't think the Foxconn thing is a bad deal. They're sort of talking it down. So as you go forward here, and there's all this talk about, you know, what's going to happen, how will you navigate that from your fellow colleagues who don't think Foxconn is a good deal?
Sure. I mean, again, we need transparency and accountability on that and make sure that all that is there. But look, first and foremost, my job is to represent the people who elected me. And for 12 years of knocking on doors in my hometown, what I hear over and over again is, when are middle class jobs coming back? And so I'm a guy who will work with anybody, with any letter after their name, to help rebuild the middle class. And I certainly want to take that opportunity to do that here.
So there are no guarantees on who will get these jobs. So how will you make sure that, hey folks, we've got this pool here, and that they're looking at those pool of people who can fill these jobs.
Right. I mean, so it's 10,000 construction jobs and 13,000 maybe more jobs for people to work there. Foxconn's going to hire some people to do that, right? The question is, can we as a community pull together to say to Foxconn, we've got a pool of applicants who are ready to go. So you don't have to recruit nationwide for so many. We have people right here.
Or Illinois.
Right, who are ready to do that work. But first and foremost, we want to make sure that we've got a real opportunity to rebuild the middle class for people living in Racine to seize those opportunities.
Can you help me understand and describe the middle class that you speak of? Like, who is this middle class and what are middle class jobs?
Yeah, so middle class jobs are jobs that pay enough where you can raise a family, right? I mean, it's the story that I grew up with in Racine, where you could have your pick of factory jobs and you wouldn't be rich.
Factory jobs, though, do help families.
They
benefits.
do.
Benefits.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in the middle class, when I grew up in Racine, you could go work at a factory, you get your UAW card, and you wouldn't be rich, but you could afford to buy a home and probably send your kids to college one day. And that was the way Racine worked for most of the 20th century. And so now here, with this new opportunity to bring such a big chunk of high-tech jobs to the area, that again, talking about $54,000 a year plus benefits, you can raise a family on that. And so that's the opportunity here.
All right,
And I love that clarification. Thank you, because it's one that is the wording is always tossed around, but I want to understand what people mean when they say middle class jobs and the middle class.
Yeah, I mean you can raise a family, and I mean that those opportunities are broadly available to as many people as possible.